So I was watching Lonesome Dove the other day, right? And I was just like, God, this is the most brutal, grimdark thing I think I've ever watched. And someone said, hey, just wait until we read Blood Meridian in August. It's even worse. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update. We're about the midway point for the month of July. Time just keeps on flying by, don't it? Lots of new things on the channel this week. A little bit of the same in some regards when it comes to what I'm reading, but about a little bit of changes, I think, on the channel, so to speak. But let's get into that. Like always, guys, let's begin with what am I reading? Now, I'm almost done with Demon in White. You're like, really? Again, you're still not done? Guys, this book is... I try to get this through to people who only audio these things. Yes, books this big take us longer than a week, you guys. So it's a very well written book. It's very confusing in some parts. Thankfully, I have that cheat code, that direct line to the author, and be like, hey, explain this to me like I am 12. But I think it's got a little bit of the Malazan effect there, where it's like, I'm not sure I understood what just happened. And that isn't anything about his writing or anything like that. It's just that there's some very philosophical moments in this book, which I'll talk about when I actually finish it here sometime, hopefully this week. I got about 140 pages left, and things are... business is picking up, is one Jim Ross used to always say. But I almost done with that, but, you know, I felt like I kind of needed to change the pace for a second, which is kind of weird when you say, oh, so you substituted one science fiction book for another. But I went ahead and started early on Sphere today by Michael Crichton, because like I said, there was a very couple of heavy chapters in Demon in White, and I said, okay, how about something easy? Yeah, so Michael Crichton, yeah, that's something easy, guys. But Sphere, in my memory, is probably my second favorite Michael Crichton book. And just judged off at the start. Again, this guys, it's been like 25 years since I read it. So yeah, it's very good right off the bat, and I'm excited to keep going. But I should be balancing those two sometime this week, finishing up Demon in White, probably this weekend, I would imagine. And then a Sphere. Let's go ahead and wait a second. Before I move on to what am I going to read, I did finish the Conviction arc in Berserk. That very, I would say not as heavy, or is what's the words I'm looking for here? It's not as easy to follow, I guess you say, as straightforward. There it is, as the Golden Age was, but very compelling nonetheless. This one very much think there are a lot more unanswered questions this go around than there was with Golden Age. But I felt it was pretty straightforward. You had a couple of hooks of things you didn't quite understand yet, but there was a lot in Conviction. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm missing something or if that's something I got to read further ahead. And a lot of people said in the next arc, the Falcon of the Millennium, that you're going to get a lot of those answers. So again, a wonderful experience I'm having with Berserk, which has actually led me to another video I did on the channel this week. I'll talk about that in a minute, but I think I'm going to kind of ease back a little bit off of it for now before I start the next arc and just kind of let things marinate. I obviously want to record that video for the review for Conviction, but I want to kind of let it marinate for a few days. So I know that's going to be the question to the new people on the channel that only want to know when is the next Berserk review coming. I'll let you know. I'll let you know probably on... not this weekly update, but probably the next one. So that's a hint. It's not coming this coming week. But it will be very soon. Obviously, I'll want to record that before I continue on with the series, because I don't like my opinions to be influenced by what comes next. So very soon. But yeah, I am still very much enjoying Berserk. It is a top 10 comic for me already, and I'm not even done with it yet. So looking forward to continue. Let's get on now to what am I going to read. Now, obviously, like I said, I want to finish Demon in White this weekend. Then I'll just be full steam ahead on Sphere. I don't imagine that'll take me more than a couple of days, because Michael Crichton books don't take longer than that once you get into them. Essence of page turners. And like I said, in my memory, Sphere is one I could not put down. And then I'll be kicking into Dragon Republic to kind of close off the month here. That's book 2 in the Poppy War books by Miss R.F. Kuang. I actually like the first book a lot, and a lot of people have said that the book 2 just completely blows it away. So I'm excited to see what comes next in that series. And since I'll be kind of taking a step back on Berserk here for a minute, I'll probably try to focus on The Sandman a little more by Neil Gaiman when it comes to the comic book medium, because I think I started that like 2 weeks ago, and I still haven't even finished the first trade. So yeah, I kept kind of getting, I'm gonna read Sandman. No, I want to read more Berserk. That's just kind of how it went. But yeah, I'd like to get to at least to the end of where that first Audible session ended up, which I think is at the end of trade number 3. So that's kind of what I'll be doing up in the this current week. Something else pops up, I doubt it. I don't know. I am going to kind of be in a mad rush to finish Dragon Republic before August 1st. That's when Midnight Tides, the Malazan read-along, continues. So my stage is pretty much set for the rest of this month. I don't see myself getting any extra time, since it's basically going to take me 3 weeks to read Demon in White. And again, that's just what it's like when you don't do the audio, guys. Let's talk about this week on the channel a little bit. Now, guys, I got to address the elephant in the room. I started getting messages about soft content, fluffy stuff. Had some people being like, where are the actual reviews? Where is the book talk? Look, guys, I know content's been kind of soft lately. Top 10s, wrap-ups, discussions with other booktubers, things like that. And I know, I guess a lot of people think that's kind of lazy. Like I said last week, guys, my wife had a major surgery, and I kind of wanted to be there for her for that. I took a promotion at work. I'm working an extra like 10 hours a week now. So, got to shave a couple hours off the day each day to make that work out. And I just, like I've kind of told you guys, would you rather I just completely disappear? Or would you rather I put out what some people are calling soft content? I even got accused of clickbait once this week. So the thing is like, I know that the people that are with me have been with me for a long time, but there's a lot of new viewers on the channel. I just hope that you can remember that, guys, this is a hobby for me. This is not a job. I like to keep the content consistent and put out, multiple videos per week instead of just disappearing when life gets really busy. But yeah, I do have a real life outside of this, and my family and my job got to kind of take priority over that. And I feel like most people know that. Most people understand that. So just kind of hoping that the new people will kind of understand there that, sometimes, yeah, there'll be times where I have 3 or 4 actual reviews a week. And then there's some where I don't have a review for a couple of weeks. That's just kind of the way that it goes. Right now I feel like I have like an hour on Friday nights. And if I don't get it all recorded on that Friday night, it just don't get recorded. So that's kind of where we've been for the last week, really. Wife's about ready to be left back on her own here and work. Hopefully getting back in that work-life balance here. And things will get back to normal. But let's talk about the content that I did get out, even if it was considered soft by some. I did push my my flash poll results, which is why you should read am I going to do next? And the results were rather surprising to a lot of people, but I was surprised by the number of thumbs downs I got in that video. So I don't know if that was because of my rants, because I do a couple of rants there about a lot of revisionist history that people have with the television series Game of Thrones, or they just didn't like the results. I don't know, or maybe I'm just that popular, guys. I have no idea. I don't know. It's just, you always get a channel that's got my viewership. You're always going to get your 2 or 3, no matter. You can put out a video about, Jesus hugging puppies, and somebody's going to thumbs down it. Right, that's just going to happen. But when you get up there in the double digits, it's like, well, what did I say in that? Did I say something wrong? So I don't know. It was just kind of weird to me. But lots of good feedback. Most people seem to be very, very excited about the results for that, and I'm excited about the results for that. Then I did my book haul. Again, this is one I think always inspires a lot of conversation in the comments, and I got to talk about that beautiful Folio Society of Dune that I got from a viewer, which is just absolutely gorgeous and just kind of like a bibliophile wet dream getting a copy of that version of Dune. And other things, I love to show what people are just showing their kindness to me, and I like to return that kindness by telling them thank you so much. I actually did like an unboxing in that video, I guess, from a viewer who sent me a complete series of something. So check that out if you haven't. Like I said, I think it always starts a lot of good conversation, and it helps a lot of people out who are curious about maybe a specific edition of a book or something like that. So like that Folio Society of Dune, you want to see if it's worth laying down the money for you, there's a good place to go. I also did do a discussion with another content creator. This is Sarah from Sarah Reads in the first of my new series, which is called A Stephen King Palaver. And if you don't know what that word means, it's a very prominent in Stephen King's Dark Tower series. So what that is, it's just going to be me and another Stephen King fan talking about why the man's work have been important to our lives and things like that. And she was my first guest, and I thought that she did wonderful. I just kind of wanted to help get some eyes on her channel because I think she has incredible content. You know, she's only been doing this for a few months. She's already over 1,000 subs. So I hope you guys will check her out. She knows her shit when it comes to Stephen King, and I'm very, very excited to pick her brain as she gets further along that path of the beam there and reads more Stephen King books, because she still hasn't read, you know, as many as me, but, you know, even I haven't read all of them. You know, a lot of people don't realize that. But I was very happy to talk with her. I think we talked about an hour after we ended the call, just because she's a really awesome human being, and I'll post a link to her channel down below somewhere. You guys check her out, sub to her channel, because I think you're going to enjoy the conversation there, and I'm very happy that she was my first guest on the Stephen King Palaver, and lots of good feedback. So I guess we will be continuing with our guest in August, which is going to be Mr. Jaime Fuego from the horror show, basically the Stephen King encyclopedia. I am intermediate when it comes to Jaime, so I'm excited to talk to him finally. I've been talking about doing this for about a year now, so it's finally going to happen. And then to close off things here, I did my top 10 manga that I want to read after I finish Berserk, which got a lot of jokes about, well, you know, you're never going to finish Berserk because he never finished Berserk, and ha 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 ha, or as I said in that video, ha ha ha. Yeah, I've had GIFs made of me because of that video. This video not only got a lot of conversation, this is one where I got accused of clickbait, by the way. Okay, but people ask me to do top 10s all the time, you guys, and I always fight it. But here's the thing is, I get so many recommendations since I started reading Berserk, and I feel like I've been red-pilled on this medium now, that it was nothing like I expected. This is adult content, and I feel like it's just completely whipping the pants off of what I've seen out of the comic industry in the States here for a while. But apparently I really, really just ruffled feathers in that, even though I felt like I was completely respectful and listed out my reasons why I didn't have an interest in reading One Piece. All the comments on there mostly about how I said I had no interest in reading One Piece. I even said the video, no hate. I think it's great that you guys love it. It just doesn't seem like my thing. And I got accused of judging a book by its cover and things like that. I mean, it is what it is, guys. If you guys love something, what I said in the video is I'll never say never. I'm just saying, these are the 10 I want to read next, and One Piece is not one of them because I knew that it's the most popular one out there. People were going to maybe Demon Slayer might be more popular right now, but that's the one that everybody was going to be asking me about. Look, guys, if you want a big-time booktuber to talk about One Piece, Murphy Naper's doing reviews every week on One Piece, so there's plenty of content out there for you to find on One Piece. For me, I want to talk about those 10 that I want to read next, and those are the 10 that I will be reading next, and preferably that's the order that I'm going to be doing them in. And so I wish more people would talk about those 10 instead of just the one that I said completely respectfully that I was going to pass on for now. But anytime you do a top 10, it's going to get lots of conversation. I always say that I wish you tell me your top 10 instead of tell me why mine suck. But again, this is the internet. I know how these things work. So there is no such thing as bad conversation. You know, I always am appreciative of feedback and things like that. But no, I didn't judge a book by its cover, guys. Lots of people that are constant watchers of the channel, that know my likes and dislikes, have told me, yeah, knowing what you like and don't like, Mike, I don't think One Piece would be for you. So I based it off of that, not just off of the animation style or the cover or anything like that. So anyhow, moving along now, let's go ahead and talk about a little bit next week plans. Yes, I'm hoping I can get back in the swing of things. I got a 3-day weekend this weekend, so I'm hoping I can get back in the swing of actual reviews here. So I know I'm going to be knocking out my review for Congo. That's finally going to happen. And yes, I will be doing my spoiler talk number 2 for House of Chains. I put it off as about as long as I can because, guys, honest to God's truth, I can't remember a lot of it. I was on vacation. That was a month ago, and a lot has happened in life since then. But I'm going to do my damnedest to try to recall everything, and I'm sure I'll be able to after I discuss a few things with a couple of Malazan veterans maybe, and joggle the memory just a little bit. I might be hitting up my Discord pretty soon and be like, hey, what happened here, here, and here? And kind of going through those threads to remember exactly what happened when in there, because there's going to be lots to talk about, as there always is in a Malazan spoiler talk. And then you're like, hey, well, that's a couple of reviews. How about something just kind of off the cuff this week? I got a new one. You guys know when I did that The Good and the Bad series? I did one for Lycanius a while back, and I followed that up by doing The Good and the Bad of The Wheel of Time. And I always say that, obviously, anytime you do Wheel of Time, it's going to get a lot of conversation. So I thought, what could I do next? Because people think that what I'm doing on that is I'm just picking series that I'm lukewarm on. Because yes, there are people who still think I'm lukewarm on Wheel of Time because I put Harry Potter above it in my top 10. Whatever. Here's the thing. I am going to prove to you guys this is not the case because I'm going to be doing the good and the bad of Joe Abercrombie's The First Law series. Now, this isn't just a trilogy. This is the entire series with the 9th book coming out here in a couple of months. I figured now is a great time to start getting a little more First Law back into our lives here on this channel. And yeah, no series is perfect, guys. Obviously, this is a series I adore. It's my favorite modern fantasy series there is, my favorite modern fantasy author, but it's not perfect. Just like I want to prove to you guys with the good and the bad series, is it isn't always just things I'm going to be gushing about. There are always going to be things to talk about. When you put on those review goggles, there are things to talk about. And I still feel like there are a lot of people who still have not given this series a try. So I want to kind of put maybe your fears to rest, or maybe confirm those fears when I talk about the not so good. So we will be dipping into the First Law series sometime next week. And guys, that's all I got right now for book stuff. There are a couple of TV and movie things I want to talk about. I kind of preluded to it there in the intro. I did finally watch the movie Lonesome Dove. Now, it's a TV miniseries. Most people just call it a movie. It's 6.5 hours long. This is one of those things that people might know that watch the channel a lot know. I'm not very into reading Westerns. So people were all the time like, why don't you read Lonesome Dove? And I'm like, I just can't get into Westerns. I think the closest I've ever come is The Dark Tower, The Gunslinger maybe, and that's stretching it quite a bit. It's just a genre I've just never really been wild about, but I love Western movies. Love them to death. Love them to death. I think it's a great in a visual medium, but for some reason in the book, just reading about tumbleweeds doesn't exactly get me excited, right? But I love movies of it. So people are like, well, why haven't you watched Lonesome Dove? It's very simple. When it first came out on TV, I mean, I was like 10 or 11, I think, and I remember my folks being very excited about it, and I missed the first night. And when you miss the first part of a miniseries, it's like, oh, I'll just catch it later. And it just never really did. And it just kind of faded out of existence for me. Every few years, I'd always have someone be like, oh, Lonesome Dove, that's like the best Western ever made. And I'm like, really? The greatest Western ever made? And it was a made-for-TV movie? How good could it be? And finally, last year, Amazon sometimes does those gold box deals. I don't buy a lot of actual physical media for movies anymore, but they had Lonesome Dove on Blu-ray for $5. And I said, well, this is a perfect time. And then earlier this year, I rewatched Sergio Leone's Man with No Name trilogy. And I was really kind of in that Western mood, started watching Unforgiven, things like that. And I was like, this would be a great time to watch Lonesome Dove. So I got the movie out and put it on the TV stand downstairs, but still never got to it. Well, this weekend, like I said, my wife was kind of laid up, and I said, we can't really go anywhere. Hey, let's just watch an epic. Let's finally watch Lonesome Dove. And we did. And guys, I can very happily confirm it is every bit worth the hype. It is an incredible movie. Wonderful performances. The soundtrack is just perfect. I love the soundtrack. And of course, those performances, mostly Tommy Lee Jones and Diane Lane, and of course, Robert Duvall. Absolute home run in all those castings. I can't compare it to the book, obviously, but just saying, I thought that those actors played those parts absolutely wonderful, just beautifully shot. I mean, you would never know that this was a made-for-TV movie. There are some couple of things that aged out, like they used like some CG lightning and stuff like that. And in 1989, yeah, it might not look that good. But amazing movie, guys. And what is absolutely amazing about it is you will get so connected to those characters. And oh my God, does that author not care about his characters, because he treats them horribly. This is some of the grimmest stuff I've ever seen in a Western. Ever. It is so brutal and dark. And it's not a question of if you will cry at the end. It is how much time is left in the movie when you start and you cry until the end. It is a very emotionally powerful movie. And honestly, guys, I don't know if I can read the book now, because I don't think I have any interest in watching those characters go through that again, really. So there we go. I made that comparison to Blood and Ready because I was talking about Lonesome Dove on the Discord. People kept saying like, yeah, just wait until... I was saying I don't think that I could read a Western that's darker than this. Everybody's like, yeah, Blood Meridian's like, hold my beer. And I'm like, well, is it actually grimdark, or is it just straight nihilism? Because that's the only way I could see it getting darker than Lonesome Dove did. So I guess I just figured, yeah, this is a old timey. This is what came out in the '80s. It's a made-for-TV movie. It's not going to be that dark. It's dark, guys. It's a very, very dark movie. So, but yeah. 10 out of 10. It's an amazing, amazing movie. Something I'll definitely watch again someday. It's just fantastic all the way around. Absolutely worth everything that you're better than you probably heard for sure. So definite recommend, guys. Terrific. It's easily a top 10 Western for me, and I've watched a shit ton of Westerns, so that puts it up there. I mean, up there with like the Tombstones and things like that, and the Sergio Leone movies. It's a Western that is really, really good, highly rewatchable. I definitely think it's one of those kind of things you'll watch and you'll get something new out of it every time, and highly quotable too. So if you don't have it, I say cheat and get it, because a man who wouldn't cheat for a poke, he didn't really want to poke that bad, did he? Next up, guys, I talked last week about Fear Street on Netflix. We watched the first 2 movies. The third one comes out today. The whole thing with that is Fear Street 1994, Fear Street 1978, and then Fear Street 1666. Yeah, it seems a weird routine to go through. Well, when you watch it, it'll make a lot of sense. But guys, I gotta tell you, as a horror fan, this was just so much fun. And I was people being like, I don't know, I don't really into scary movies. If you watched scary movies in like the 1990s, like if you love Scream, or if you like probably the less jump scare versions of Friday the 13th got a little soft as a franchise as it went on. So I say, like, imagine the first Scream movie mixed with Friday the 13th, but puts some witches in it. And I think that's kind of what you get with Fear Street. The nostalgia is going to be sky high. If you watched slasher movies in the 1990s, like a Scream, something like that, I think you're going to love it. I mean, it starts off with a B. Dalton right at the beginning. So the soundtrack is great. It's had me listen to stuff like Nirvana and White Zombie all week because it's so good. But it's one of those things that you kind of go into it thinking, oh, okay, well, that means it's got teenage protagonists. That means it's going to be just for teens, right? This has some of the most gruesome kills that I have ever seen in horror. And I've watched a lot. However many Westerns I've watched, triple it. That's how much horror I've watched. And 1978, probably even a little bit more. There's just one main kill in 1994 that's just like, I can't believe they just did that. But 1978 just really, most horror films, the stuff that it does, when it gets to something that violent, it'll usually turn the camera away, or it'll zoom in, or it'll fade out, or something like that. No, it shows you. It's right in your face the whole time. Buckets of blood, guys. So if blood bothers you, it might not be for you, but it's fun. We're having a blast with it. I can't believe how much it feels like a movie that would have been made in the 90s. It really does. So a really good throwback. I never read R.L. Stine, guys. Here's the thing with R.L. Stine is, like I said, I went straight from like fantasy to Stephen King. So you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube at that point. I felt like going back to R.L. Stine after I read Stephen King would have felt like, okay, well, I feel like I'm, watching The Godfather and then watching a Pixar movie. It would have been kind of like, oh, well, I can't take it as seriously kind of thing. But obviously, R.L. Stine sold a shit ton of books, so a lot of people have a ton of nostalgia out there for it, and it's showing because it's doing gangbusters on Netflix. So I'm happy for it, and I hope they can stick the landing with part 3. But yeah, if you're into anything like that, you're into the Friday the 13th, sleepaway camps, Scream, anything like that, I think you're going to have a blast going back and watching. It's just so much fun. If you haven't watched those, hey, just watch them just for fun. I kind of said it's like people who didn't grow up in the 80s could still appreciate Stranger Things. Same. You didn't grow up in the 1990s, I think you'll find plenty to enjoy there. So, like I said, 1666 comes out today, Friday, so I'm very excited to wrap that up this evening. And guys, that was my week. What was your week like? Drop in the comments and let me know. What are you watching? What are you reading? What do you listen to? What are you playing? There are no wrong answers. Drop in the comments, let me know, and have yourselves an awesome weekend.